turned off my mic. I turned off my mic, and I realized I turned off my mic. That's just great. And have to restart the whole intro. What's up, everyone? My name is Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees. I apologize for the no volume. I did not even realize I turned off my mic. Look, first day of spring training. We're here. We're going to discuss it all. Let us know what your thoughts are. What are you most excited for in spring training? We want to get into all that and more. We'll also discuss what Aaron Boone said in his first press conference. We'll talk about how the health of guys can affect the roster. Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Anthony Volpe, Clark Schmidt are all guys who were starting the year on the IL. See if there's any surprise injuries. There are no surprise injuries, spoiler alert, at least for now. But we'll talk about how, throughout the course of spring training, that could change. We really appreciate you guys sticking out, waiting till the nighttime. I know that it's a little bit later than usual. We usually do these at 7:30, but we're doing these at 8. Just for today, we had a meeting earlier at 7, so I had to push this back a little bit, kick it down the road a little. But we really appreciate your support here. Let's get it going. Let's do a little bit of a roll call here. Jake Lamb, who's hurt? Nobody got hurt. Or there are people who are hurt, but nobody hurt that we didn't know was hurt. PA Transparency Project. Hey, chat, how's it going? Who's excited for Yankees baseball? We're excited for Yankees baseball, man, and I appreciate you stopping by. Chat, let me know what you are the most excited for this upcoming 2026 season. Which player, which storyline, what are you looking to follow the closest? We've got Patrick saying no sound. Yeah, there's no sound. Sorry about that. Ed the Trucker's here. Paul knows. Zachary Goldstein. W Streamer. Appreciate that, man. And a miracle first day of spring, no injuries. Yeah, I firmly agree, man. That's a miracle. I mean, there's a win in and of itself. Paul knows. Yanks lover. Jonathan Carrizzo. Everybody here, we really appreciate you guys being here and spending part of your evening. Again, we really appreciate you waiting a little bit longer than usual for the start of these streams. We'll talk about everything related to the Yankees. We'll get into that. But I just really want to preface this by saying I'm beyond excited for the upcoming 2026 season. Whether it results in the Yankees championship or not, I'm always excited to be able to get to do this and for you guys to be here and spend and spend some time with us. I really do appreciate that. We got Cruise Control News, Andrew Nevins, and I'll answer that question, Andrew, in a bit. Don't worry. We'll talk about the projected standings. But let's do some normal work, not normal work. Let's get some stuff out the way. Let's talk about some of the recent updates from Yankee camp. Again, Aaron Boone, his first media availability session. We'll kind of play some of the audio from these, and we'll give our thoughts in between. Let's start with the injury updates he provided. Let's start with the first question was asked, which was about what's the health of the roster. He was Aaron Boone being asked about any surprise injuries.
Aaron, did all pitchers and catchers report today as expected?
Yes, as far as I know, I haven't gotten any of the obviously final reports, but it doesn't sound like we're missing anyone. And frankly, I think probably had 80-90% of our guys that have been here for a while already anyway. So obviously a big day getting here and getting guys through physicals and stuff. So, so far looks good.
Any surprises as far as health is concerned, or is everybody healthy coming in as far as you know?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think we're in a good spot.
That was manager Aaron Boone talking about the current health of the roster. As he noted, a lot of guys have been in Tampa for a bit now. And I do think when it comes to the health of the roster, not having any surprise injuries, that's a big first step. I will get to the super chat here from Jonathan Carrizzo. Surprised to hear the Volpe update, maybe closer to an April-May return. I do think we're going to see him in April. I think April, maybe May. I think that's the timeline. I want to thank you for the super chat, Jonathan. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it, of course. But I do think April, May, that's the timeline that kind of makes the most sense. Now, I did ask you guys what you're most excited for, and Zachary says Ben Rice being a 900 OPS player, and I fully agree. I think that we'll see the 900 OPS. I'm most excited for Jazz to see how he performs in a contract year, Volpe to see if it really was just his shoulder, and Cole to see how he rebounds. Yanks lover, I think that's a really strong list of things to be looking forward to, and I'm excited to get to see these things play out. PA Transparency Project, I want to see Jose Caballero playing full-time shortstop. I think that's going to be a big talking point throughout the year. There is a question from Paul Knows I do think is some good house cleaning to do here. Is the Goldschmidt signing official yet? I assume he would just take Clark's spot on the 40-man. So to kind of clarify a little bit, the Yankees did make some roster maneuvering to accommodate for some recent transactions. They did trade for Max Schumann from the Athletics. Very minor trade. We did talk about that a little bit in the live stream. last time, but nothing of significant note there. And then in regard to an official Paul Goldschmidt signing, I believe it is official. I could be wrong. I think this signing is official. Let me just double check. No, actually, it may not be official. It might not be official yet. So I think they might have to do some 40-man work. As you mentioned, they can just put Cole on the 60-day in the upcoming days. So I do think that's not official just yet. So at least the Yankees haven't tweeted it out. Maybe that changes in the coming days. But again, I'm assuming they're going to just wait on the ability to put guys on the 60-day IL, as you noted. Now, Aaron Boone did provide an update on both Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole. Here's Aaron Boone talking about both of those guys in the latest update he provided at his media availability session. We'll play it for you guys right here.
With Carlos and Garrett, how far into their throwing programs are they, and how have they kind of responded to the offseason and everything coming back from their surgeries?
Yeah, good. They're pretty far into it, especially Carlos. He's probably not far behind, from the start of the season. And then as far as Garrett, I think he's thrown a number of pens already in California. I think he's scheduled to begin lives in a couple of weeks, and then, could potentially, even get into some game action by the end of spring. We'll see how all that shakes out and if we want to do that or not. But both have done well.
Yeah, obviously the big detail here being that Garrett Cole could pitch at the end of spring training. Now, I would assume that means Rodon is there's a pretty realistic chance he pitches in spring as well, because it'd be a little bit weird to give Garrett Cole game action but not Carlos Rodon, given that Rodon is further ahead than Garrett Cole. As Aaron Boone notes, Rodon has he's not far behind from the start of the season. He talked about him already being in bullpen progression, so we'll see with Rodon and Cole, but that's a very positive update on Garrett Cole. If we do see Garrett Cole in spring training at any point, I think that'd be a huge that'd be a huge kick up in morale, I think, for the Yankees as we get closer to the start of the season, knowing how important Garrett Cole is to this team, and knowing that the ramp-up period for Garrett Cole could be rather significant. Zachary points out, if Volpe's in the minor leagues for 20 days, the Yankees get an extra year of control. Just let him ramp up and take his time. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's nothing. I don't think that's nothing in this conversation. I do think there's a little bit of, there's got to be a little bit of that in factored into their mind that they can keep him for an extra year and get an extra year. And even if he isn't good and they non-tender him, that's still, it's better to have the extra year than not. I do wonder how legit that is with the MLB PA. That feels a little bit like soon. 20 days for an extra year feels a little bit odd. Let's see what else we got here. Boone fully said without fully saying it that Ben Rice can be the backup catcher, so Waldo Dominguez might and the shoe might battle for 2 roster spots. Yeah, we'll see. We'll play that audio in a bit. I'm sorry that I'm only moving this off because one side of the headphones isn't working and it keeps popping in and out, and I find that really annoying. So I'm just gonna go with the one headphone look, a little bit of a janky look, but we'll go from there. I'm gonna just try and figure out a way to make this less awkward looking, because I want to make sure I can hear what's going on. So I'll just do it screw it, I'll do it like this. I don't care. Volpe has to earn his spot back, not have it give it to him. If Cabby's playing well, Volpe has to take it back. I think that's totally fair. PA Transparency Project. I definitely don't disagree. No injuries yet, but expect that to happen in spring training, says Ms. Chocolates. Yeah, I fully agree, man. I think injuries are bound to happen. The ramp-up period is still ongoing. We still have the World Baseball Classic to get through. We have all of spring training to get to. I do expect that there's going to be some level of injury bug that comes and haunts the Yankees. It's going to haunt every single team in baseball in spring training and throughout the regular season. Let's see what else we got here. By the time Schmidt returns, regular season would be nearly done. Yeah, I imagine his return is around August is roughly where I'd imagine. Let's go Yankees from It's MJ35 and PA Transparency Project. Dang, Ryan, making all that money from the YouTubes and can't afford new headphones. Well, just kidding, man. The struggle is real. Honestly, they stopped working today, and I have AirPods. I don't know how to connect them to my computer with a Bluetooth. I need to buy new headphones. I found out about this development today, which really is unfortunate. And was feeling a little banged up earlier. I was a little worried I was getting sick. And I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but I don't think it's that bad. And the weird thing is I'm not coughing as much, so I don't know what happened. Like, I feel like I exchanged coughing for having like significant fatigue and being a little sore everywhere and having a headache. So I'm kind of curious as to what the situation with that is. Victor Perez says, looking forward to Oswaldo's return. Hey, I think he's a vibes guy. I talked about this with Gary Phillips, but there's never feels like there's a time where he isn't smiling. So I do think it's cool to have that back. I think if Judge gets hurt, they need to bring up Jones. I meant during the WBC. Yeah, it's MJ35. I don't know if they'd bring up Spencer Jones to come up and then just get sent down. He is a center fielder, which does matter in this conversation, but I do think what they would do is just have Dominguez play right field, or this is what I would do. I'd have Dominguez play right field because right field's the easier defensive corner position. I would put Bellinger in left, and I would put Grisham in center as usual. And PA Transparency Project, I know that how the Bluetooth feature works. The issue is that my computer, it's a computer issue for the Bluetooth. I can't even connect it to my Alexa. Like my computer just, for some reason, the Bluetooth's kind of weird there. So I'm a little bit curious to see what the situation is with that. Jonathan Carrizo goes, and thank you for the super chat, Jonathan. You're beyond kind. I really appreciate it, man. Interested in seeing Weathers' heel pitch and also the new pitch from Schlittler, the shape of it and how effective. How about you? What are you most interested in? So, Jonathan, I did do a video earlier today discussing some pitchers I'm interested in, and I'll kind of just, not to say that not to say that I don't want to discuss it because I did a video on it. I want to discuss it because I did a video on it, and I want to discuss it here. I'm really excited to watch Ryan Weathers pitch. I'm really excited to watch him kind of with the new runner he's throwing, the new gyro slider. And I'm also really, really excited to see some of the young guys, Elmer, Hess, LaGrange, Winquest. I am excited to see Luis Seal, see if there's anything new to kind of document there in terms of pitch usage. And with Schlittler, does he have the changeup? Because again, last year, I want to know, and this is an important thing to talk about because I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but I do want to note that just because someone says that there's going to be a new pitching change, that it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And Jonathan, do not apologize, man. I love I love discussing videos and videos I did on these live streams. I think by being here and being here live, like that's why I have these conversations. But with Schlittler, he talked about having a splitter last year and like trying to throw one, and then he didn't because it wasn't working for him. So just because you're trying to throw a pitch doesn't mean it ends up working out, or they even use it in spring games. So I would be cautious about applying the idea that Schlittler's going to be throwing a new pitch. I want to see it. So I want to see if he does. The first box to check, are you throwing that new pitch? Yes, no. For Weathers, I am a little more confident he'll throw the gyro slider and the sinker or the two-seam. And the reason for that is because he already throws those pitches. He's really talking about souping up the pitch shapes of those pitches. Ball 4 goes, and actually I'll answer the first two comments. Pixelmon sounds like you have COVID. I don't feel like sick. Like I felt sick. Like I felt really banged up earlier today. I also didn't eat anything. Like I had like waffles, like toaster waffles with nothing on them, and some coffee. I like barely had any water. And then I ate I went to a steakhouse. My little brothers took my little brothers to a steakhouse. One of them is a Seahawks fan. His Seahawks won the Super Bowl, so I took them to kind of, they're twins, so I'm gonna take both of them. And it was great. Ate a bunch of meat, ate a bunch of food, and I felt way better. So I think it might have been an issue of not eating, but the cough being gone is great. The cough being gone is a great development. I think I've also been overusing my voice, and I've been recording so much. So, going to try and drink more tea and kind of regulate, the amount of takes I have, for example. Like I need to be able to script a little better so I don't have as many outtakes, which burn the voice a little more. But to get to the question from Ball 4 here, because I think this is a really good question. Besides Free, do you think any pitcher on the Yankees will surpass 160 innings? My hot take is that I think it'll be Schlittler. Is that a hot take? I guess any pitcher exceeding 160 innings is a hot take. I think Schlittler will get there. I think Warren might get there, but we'll see. I do think another Yankee will get there. I'm just not sure who. I can't answer confidently. Weathers cut his hair a little. He's in his DeGrom era. I'm excited for it, says Zacharin. I think that's a pretty sick comp. I hope, right? I'm excited for Schlittler, ERC, and Kilby. I'm excited for those two Ms. Chocolates. PA Transparency Project asks, Ryan, if Elmer Rodriguez destroys in the WBC, do you think he'll make the roster's bullpen piece? No, I think that the only way he makes the roster is as a starting pitcher. I don't foresee a world where the Yankees from camp decide to just put him in the bullpen. The reason I say that is because it would make sense if he was like a failed starter or a guy who doesn't have minor league options or has been on the big league roster for a bit now. The reason why the Yankees won't do that is because if they have an injury, he's going to be one of the first options they can look at. There's not really a world where you don't want to deplete your starting pitching depth by moving a guy to the bullpen and not having him build up as a starting pitcher. So that's really the number one reason why I don't believe the Yankees are going to throw him in the bullpen. Let's see what else we got here. Do you think Elmer Rodriguez, Cruz, or Carlos LaGrange could be called up this year? Don't remember what levels they're at. Rodriguez is AAA, LaGrange is in AA, and I think it's possible to get called up this year. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Both pitchers, I think, have a real chance of coming up this year. I hope my Yankees can trade for Kevin Gausman. Ruben, apologies. There's no chance that the Blue Jays trade us Kevin Gausman. Zachary Goldstein goes, the Schlitt split would be a great shirt. Say that 5 times fast. Schlitt, split, Schlitt, split, Schlitt, split, Schlitt, split, Schlitt, split. I'm actually kind of impressed. I didn't say it too fast, but kind of impressed I could say it 5 times without it, like, fumbling over myself. Schlittler should try and throw a splitter and call it the Schlittler splitter. Yeah, I think a splitter would be sick. I think he's going to be more of a changeup if he throws that. I'm so happy the Patriots lost. My little brother is thrilled the Patriots lost because, well, his team what? I will absolutely get there, says Cam Schlittler. I appreciate that, man. Will Schlittler win Rookie of the Year? Is he a candidate? No, he's not a rookie, so he can't win the award. He's not a rookie. He exceeded his rookie status last year. I'm going to apply some lip balm real quick just because my lips are a little chapped. Yeah. That's some good lip balm. Yeah. Hope we see Lombard adjust the fastballs in spring. Yeah, Zachary Goldstein, it's really important to note with Lombard, the offensive skill set does need some more polish, and I think that's why the Yankees are not keen on calling him up this year. I don't think it makes sense to rush his development either, but I think that he is a prospect who still needs some more polish before we can sit here and call him a future big leaguer. Can my Yankees sign free agent Max Scherzer? Don't think they'll be signing Max Scherzer unless it's extremely cheap. LaGrange would have a better chance of starting in the bullpen. Yeah, I think LaGrange, not that I also think they're going to try it as a starter, but I do think we'll see a situation where LaGrange, there might be an impasse at some point in his pro career where we do have the conversation of, okay, it might not be as a starter. Let's see it start out as a reliever and then maybe push him back as a starter. It just isn't as common now as it maybe used to be, at least in the last few years. But I don't think the New York Yankees are going to be worried too much about pushing him into a bullpen immediately. So, yeah. Schlittler's not a rookie this year. Yep, that's PA. Yep, correct. My Yankees will trade for Luis Severino from the A's. I would not want Luis Severino from the A's to come on the New York Yankees at this point in his career. This would be a desperation nostalgia. Like, I would hate that trade. Yeah, Kim, I do think out of necessity for LaGrange. I do think that is a very good point. Out of necessity could breed the, hey, let's just do it. And I think that impasse could come this year. Yassine asks, what team do you see surprising in the American League and the National League? Okay, so I'm going to go fairly unconventional for my National League pick. I'm not picking the Pirates. I simply do not believe in the Pirates to the degree that other people believe in the Pirates. No offense to Pirates fans. I'm not saying there's not something to be excited about this year, but I don't believe in them is kind of my TLDR. I think the Twins will win 85 games this year. And I think I would have said the Cardinals if they didn't sell off. Not saying that they shouldn't have, but I think that they're a smarter organization now. I'm going to go on a whim and say, I guess the Pirate. No, that's boring. I'm not even that big on the Pirates. I'm not sure I'm that big on the Giants. Not really a big fan of that roster. I like some elements of that roster. Yes, I know the Twins bullpen sucks, Zachary. I'm trying to think of a real shocking, interesting one. In the National League, I think I kind of hate most of these National League bubble teams. I don't think the Reds are particularly great. But they also made the postseason last year. They wouldn't be a surprise team. I don't think the Marlins are particularly great either, and they're not a surprise team if they make the postseason. And they were a 500 team. That's everyone's pick. Rangers I think are better than people think. I think even projections are really low on them. 81 wins I think is incredibly low. I think they're going to win 85, 86 games. surprise pick. Brewers surprise and not play well. The Brewers end up really falling off from this past year. That's my hot take. I think this is the year that projections are finally right on them. Let's see what else we got. Yo, how's it going? Says River Borenstein. River, appreciate you stopping by, my man. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well, my man. Yankees need to sign Joey Gallo. The season is over. Christopher, I fully agree. If the New York Yankees do not sign Joey Gallo to be in their bullpen, the season is bleeping over. The season is bleeping over if they don't sign Joey Gallo. I think the Twins will sell off at the deadline. I would bet on it, but I would say like they have a chance. I don't know. I really don't. I think that the AL is a little more open in the sixth wild card or the sixth playoff spot, third wild card spot. It's MJ says, Ryan, do you think Warren could be a bullpen piece this year? I know he pitched out of the pen a couple times last postseason, but I also remember his numbers in the first inning were never good. I definitely think it's possible. It depends on how he pitches in the regular season. It depends on how healthy he is. It depends on how stacked the depth chart is rotation wise. The Yankees have a lot of possible names who could be in the rotation. I'm not exactly sure they're going to have all of them healthy at the same time. I'm not even entirely sure that we're going to see the New York Yankees in a situation where Will Warren should be in the bullpen. It's possible that Luis Seal's a better bullpen option. It's possible that he's out pitching Ryan Weathers. It's possible that, he's out pitching, Heel and Weathers, and it's possible that, I don't think it's likely, but it's technically possible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past like maybe we see, I'm trying to think. Maybe we see like Schlittler not perform well. Maybe we see Elmer not take that leap or get hurt. Maybe we see Rodon not pitch very well late in the year, or Cole. I don't know. Like I think there's a million variables here. So yeah. Anything said on Hot Stove tonight? Nothing of complete substance that is like not known publicly. He didn't mention anything about interest in players or in trades. I think the Yankees might be done. Seattle worth watching. I think Seattle might be the best team in the American League right now. Monty signed a 1-year deal with Texas. Yeah, I did see that, and I think it's a good signing. 1 year, $1.25 million. Like, even if it's half a year of him, I think it's a solid signing. Athletics can hit. Yeah, the A's can be scary. Do I believe in Joe Hendry, says Pixelmon. Now, I will have to apologize real quick because Joe Hendry, are we, like, I don't know who Joe Hendry is. I know Brian Hendry is, Yankee prospect who has dealt with some injuries, but, throws pretty hard. Don't know who else is possible. I don't know who Joe Hendry would be. Weathers will pitch in the bullpen due to innings. Yeah, I think it's possible. Zachary says you can't trade Durbin away and get away with it. Happened to us. Will happen in Milwaukee. Yeah, I'm so sad yet. He's on the Red Sox. Like, why them? Why not anybody else? Let's see. Don't say Cam's name in vain. No, I don't. I think it's a low probability outcome, but it's a non-zero. Like Devin Williams was the third best reliever in baseball at minimum, and then ended up not performing pretty well. So, yeah, that can happen. And I hate to kind of put that out there, but it could happen. Anywho, Joe Hendry was a big meme. Who is Joe Hendry? I have no idea. So was Cashman right trading Monty for Bader? Seems Bader's gotten better and Monty got worse. That's a good question. I guess he was early. I mean, the issue is that Monty tore his UCL. Like that's the issue. He tore his UCL. So like, can we really I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know. But yeah, I guess Bader since the trade has ended up being the better player at this point. But unfortunately, we grade trades based on what the Yankees get, and the Yankees did not get more out of that trade than they would have gotten if they kept Montgomery, especially in 23, where they might have been able to trade him for really good prospects versus Bader, who ended up being a declining asset who they had to put on the waiver wire. So yeah. Let's see what else we have. Ryan, do you like Chris Keane and Wyatt Parliament? Wyatt did not pitch last year due to injury, and Keane was a UDFA. So Chris Keane, I know, is a reliever prospect. I just tend to not be that high on non-close to debuting reliever prospects. I rank 2 relievers, and Winquist technically not really a reliever because he could start if he ends up sticking with the team in 2027. but I did grade him as a reliever prospect for the 2026 season, or at least with significant reliever risk. Winquist ended up at number 11. Again, the starter upside still baked into that equation. And then Harrison Cohen, I think, squeaked in towards the back end of the list in the 25 to 30 range. Consider him as high as 25, consider him as low as 35. The reason he makes is because his proximity to the big leagues. He's right on the precipice. I can't rank Keen that high, knowing that he's very far away from the big leagues, but I do think that there's a chance he ends up being an impact reliever. It's just not a high probability. Wyatt Parliament, I was one of the only people to rank him in the top 30. I took I'm taking my shot there. I think the release traits are really unique, and I like unique release traits. Furthermore, I really like unique release traits that particularly include low arm slots, wide release points. I think those are really fun traits to have for a pitcher. I think those create some really disgusting and tough to pick up angles. So, yeah. Let's see what else we got. Between Francisco Lindor, Corbin Carroll, and Jackson Holiday all coming back from hamate surgeries, who will hit the most home runs? I'm pretty confident saying Lindor. I think Francisco Lindor is he's a much better power hitting shortstop than people kind of give credit for, because shortstops A usually don't hit a lot of home runs, and B, he's pretty consistent in it. So I will sit here and tell you pretty confidently I think Lindor, but Carroll close behind, Holiday very distant third. I don't think Jackson Holiday is going to out homer any of those guys. I don't think Jackson Holiday is a better hitter than those guys, although he's still talented. I'm not going to throw the towel in on him. I heard very positive news about Colin Rodon. Makes me think Heel and Weathers will likely move to the bullpen, which makes me think we don't need a reliever. Thoughts? No, I still think we need a reliever. I don't think you can go into a season with the idea that your 35-year-old and 33-year-old starting pitcher will return to replace your oft-injured left-handed starting pitcher addition and your right-handed oft-injured homegrown starting pitcher. So, yeah, I personally, I think, again, I think it's possible that it works out for the Yankees, but I don't really believe that the Yankees should be operating in the mindset of, well, you have starters coming back, so we don't need bullpen arms. No, you need bullpen arms. And I have no idea how Heel's going to look in the bullpen. No idea. None. He could be completely erratic. Don't know. Do you think that Thatcher Hurd could move quickly in the system? I think it's possible he could be a big leaguer after 2 minor league years, but I think it's going to take 2 minor league years because this one's going to be abbreviated. Next year, he'll need to build up on innings, and the only way for him to move really quickly would be for him to be a reliever, and I don't believe you're going to give up on the starter outcome in the abbreviated year, and I definitely don't think it would only happen in the second year, and if that happened in the second year, it would take quite a surge, and it would have to happen, close enough for the Yankees to be able to put him on the 40-man and do that before September. I think it's going to take at least 2026, 2027 before we can even think about Thatcher Hurd being a big leaguer. But that being said, I think it's possible that in 2028 he ends up being a big leaguer. Do you like Kyle Carr or Brock Selvage better? I have them roughly grouped in as the same level of prospects. Me personally, I think they're both, these low whiff left-handed pitchers who threw harder 2 years ago and no longer throw as hard. And because they once threw that hard and aren't old, it's possible they unlock that velo again. But until they do so, I'm going to be very, very, very pessimistic. And they're going to keep sliding on these lists, unfortunately, which sucks because I don't dislike either player. I actually like these two players. I think that, there was a point in time where as prospects, if the stuff was where it was 2 years ago, these guys would be awesome pitching prospects. I can't have every reason to talk Toronto, but put belt to ass all season on us. Look, I think it's he has every right to say what he wants to say. At the end of the day, that's his right. I don't think players should be fined for these kinds of things or, shouldn't be allowed to do that. But I do think it's kind of I think it's so obviously pandering, number one. And number two, to be completely frank, Aaron Boone stuck his neck out for this guy every single freaking day for 2 years. The organization didn't say a bad thing to IKF on his way out and didn't say bad things about him publicly when he was kicking ground balls around. So, I think it's a little bit dude, that's just weird. I think it's weird. I think it's really weird to do that to a former organization, just throw that dig out there without really the prompt. He decided to just throw that out there. And look, it's fine. There's nothing amoral about it. I just think it's weird, bro. And the other thing I'll say on that note, should maybe be more worried about, should be more worried maybe about the lady should take off third. Also, Bassett to Baltimore. Just saw that. Which I think is a good signing for them. Did I see that wrong? I'm not wrong on that. Zachary, you're not bullshitting me, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's multiple people. I just saw it too. Yeah, he's on the Orioles. That's a good signing. Like, he's a solid pitcher. 1 year, $18.5 million. Like, hey, makes sense. It's a solid addition. Yeah, solid addition for them. Makes them better. Yeah. JP Sears, I don't think is a great comp for Selvage and Carr, because I think Sears had better release traits and a better four-seam fastball. So, yeah. This lineup isn't good enough. All things need, the Yankees need a lot to go right. You need a lot to go right for any lineup to be good. And I don't actually think they need more to be right for that lineup to be good than most teams in baseball. Trying to think of, like, the Dodgers, obviously, better lineup. Dodgers are a fucking incredible baseball team. Don't think there's another lineup that's clearly better than the Yankees one. The Blue Jays just lost Anthony Santander. And I know that people are going to say, well, they hit without him last year. They had Bichette, and Bichette's a big part of that. And I understand Cosmo Okamoto, good player. Nothing against Cosmo Okamoto. I'm not going to detract. I actually really liked him coming out of the MPB. But still, that is a loss, having to have a bottom of the order of Clement and Jimenez instead of Clement at the bottom of the order and then slotting in somebody else. Not particularly, like, Anthony Santander is not a great player, but he's certainly a pretty good offensive player, or at least projected to be a pretty good offensive player. Not sure that Nathan Lucas is, like, moving the needle for me. That is part of this as well. Like, I don't know. I think that with the Blue Jays roster, if you took the Blue Jays lineup and we made it the Yankee lineup, I think people would complain about the Yankee lineup. So, I think that's more of a switch the team names, keep the same players, and I think that people would pick the Blue Jay lineup if you're a Yankee fan just because it says Blue Jays, not Yankees, which I think is what's going on here. I'm going to be honest. I don't see a data point to suggest. I've said this before. Like, I don't see a data point to suggest that the Yankee offense last year wasn't actually good. I don't see a data point to suggest that last year's offense didn't do good things. I don't see a data point to suggest that this year's offense won't be good. I just see a bunch of data points that keep saying they're going to be good. They're going to be good. They were really good last year. They should still be good. My biggest concern is the pitching staff. I don't know about the health of the pitching staff. I don't know how healthy they're going to be. I don't know how many arms they're going to have available on opening day. I don't know what the quality of those arms on opening day are going to look like. I don't really know where we're going to look at their bullpen. I don't trust the bullpen. Like, I've said this, they need another freaking reliever. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't personally, I think there's a lot of easy stuff to look at for the New York Yankees and a lot of offensive statistics and eye test. Watch the at-bats. A lot of long at-bats. A lot of hard-hit batted balls. A lot of walks. I'm sorry. Like, I watch the tape, watch the film, watch the postseason games, and tell me that those 7 games should matter more than 162, fine. But not a single team in baseball thinks that way. Who's the fourth outfielder with Jason Dominguez sent down? Well, look, it's no guarantee he's going to be in AAA to start the year. I know that report's out there, and we talked about that, and I mentioned in that video, and I want to clarify this very, very much. I want to restate this again. It is February 11th. February 11th. Trent Grisham could go down. Giancarlo could go down. Bellinger could go down. God forbid Judge could go down. Obviously, God forbid for all these guys. There are going to be at-bats if somebody goes down. And for Giancarlo Stanton, feels like a ticking time bomb with injury. He's been injured every single year. One IL stint every single year since 2019. He's gotten 6 years older since 2019. Pretty confident we see him get on the IL again. And for some fourth outfield options, I don't think it'll be Spencer. I do think it's possible that, like, as Chat has mentioned, Cabrera's ability to play the outfield plays a role in this. Schumann can play some outfield, and I don't think he's a particularly good defensive outfielder, but he can do it. I think there is going to be... They're going to utilize their flexibility. They're going to utilize their roster flexibility. And with Jason Dominguez, I do not believe it is a set-in-stone thing that Jason is going to end up in AAA. And no hat for me. Yeah, I was in a meeting, so like I didn't wear my hat to the meeting, and so I'm not wearing my hat right now, which is a complete shame. It's an utter shame and a disservice to my country and my team for the World Baseball Classic to not have that hat on right now. So yeah, again, it's really unfortunate that I don't have the hat. I miss it right now. But just tying it back to fourth outfield discourse real quick before I move on here. Schumann has 89 major league innings in the outfield. Again, just hasn't played much there. I don't think he's a particularly, like, I would prefer to see him in the infield. I don't think Cabrera's a particularly great outfielder either. I don't think he plays left field very well. I do think Caballero is a better outfielder than these guys. I think that Caballero's a better outfielder than those guys. I think Caballero makes a lot of sense for potential outfield roles. Yeah. Schumann is a good defender, Pixelmon. He's just not a good outfield defender. He's a very good infield defender. I'm talking about his outfield. He's not very experienced out there. He's not a very good defensive outfielder from what I've seen. He is fast. He's an athlete. Maybe he can learn the outfield pretty well, but I don't view him as a fourth outfielder. I view him as a guy who can play the outfield in a pinch, but he's a very skilled defensive infielder, but he can't hit. So, like, I'm not going to pretend this guy's, I'm not going to pretend this guy's Ozzie Smith or Carlos Correa. You would not mistake this guy for a starting above average shortstop. Let's see what else we got here. Pirates signed Jose Urquidy, just happened. I think that came out a couple days ago, but I guess it's official now. Cheap contract, like cheap pitching depth. I'm always a fan of cheap pitching depth. Like look, you can never have enough starting pitching. Can never have enough starting pitching. That I'm just gonna keep saying that. Just gonna keep saying that. Over under 2.5 starts in the outfield for Giancarlo Stanton in 2026. Yeah, it's a great question. Well, actually, should we play some audio from Aaron Boone first? Should we play this audio from Aaron Boone talking about Giancarlo Stanton? Because I think this answer was a little bit interesting, and I think he mentions it here. But let's see. No, he doesn't mention it in this audio, but he talks about like potentially putting Stanton in the outfield a little bit. We'll see if that ends up happening. I think we'll take the over. I'll take the over. I mean, I just don't know what context that would be. We got Keith McPherson here. Keith, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, I don't know how many starts Stanton's gonna get out there. I guess the situation could be like Judge being hurt or needing to DH like he did last year. I don't know. If Dominguez goes down, the Yankees gain an extra year of control. I wouldn't be shocked if that is a thing that happens. Again, like I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with Dominguez yet. It would have been a better option for the Yankees to trade for Nico Horner, move Jazz to center field instead of offering Grisham $22 million this year. Yeah, look, I mean, I personally, I would have been, I've been a proponent of Nico Horner. I think he's a better player than Trent Grisham, but he hasn't been traded, and I think that's an indication of where the price tag is at. I don't think that the Yankees were going to be able to trade for Nico Horner and just say, hey, here's Will Warren and here's Ben Hess, and let's get this thing done, packaged and sealed. And even then, that is, a young, controllable starting pitcher and a pitching prospect who's like top 100 caliber for 1 year of an infielder. Still, like, that's weird in terms of trade value. But even then, I mean, if I'm the Cubs, like, I'm holding their feet to the fire. I'm going to be like, hey, I don't need to make that trade. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's that I think it's more about what Horner's going for on the trade market, not as much the Yankees' lack of interest. I think they would really like to have Nico Horner on this team. And I'll say this, though, I would have liked Nico Horner to play shortstop for the New York Yankees. That's the thing I've been drumming all winter, that he could be a really good shortstop option. I'm chilling, bro. We're back on. Keith, it's good having you here in chat. And he also says Stanton making less money should make him less important. It's whatever. If he's mashing, he plays, but not every day. Look, I think this roster need to be creative with the usage rates of this roster. They have a lot of guys who can do some things in terms of positional versatility. Bellinger plays left, center, right, first. Grisham plays center, but I'm sure he could play a corner outfield spot if needed. Judge obviously only plays right field. I don't think he's going to ever play center field again for the Yankees, at least the major league level. It just doesn't really make sense for that to happen, given that you have multiple center fielders. Looking at the infield, Caballero can play multiple positions. Rice can play first and catch. Escar can play first and catch. With Cabrera, he can play multiple positions. McMahon can actually play some second and a little bit of first if needed. Not that I would ever want my first baseman to hit like Ryan McMahon. But with Stanton, I mean, if he could play any outfield, great. But I think that, yeah, like he's making less money now. He's making about $14 million. The Yankees are paying him about $14 million. They should be willing to kind of like move some guys around. It's a 162 game season. Boone's going to rest guys on days we don't want him to rest them. You're going to have Goldschmidt play some games in which, he's going to play a game and you're like, why is he playing today? But that's just baseball. You're going to have guys playing that you don't want playing in the postseason or in certain situations in the postseason because it's a 162 game season. You're going to do some weird shit. So I do agree, like, let Stanton take some days off. Don't push him every single day. In October, that's when you're pushing your guys every single day, but not in the regular season because you should be able to utilize the newfound bench depth. Rosario can play different positions to, try and keep everybody healthy and still be competitive on a day-to-day basis. I'm not advocating for punting. I'm just advocating for, what will happen throughout the year, which is a bunch of different lineups. Brian Bashman, super chat here. What happens if Spencer Jones mashes this spring? Brian, that's a great question. Look, I don't think that Spencer Jones is going to be, I think it's really hard for Spencer Jones to shed the big worry with him, which is his strikeout rates. He can hit well in a spring training setting, and I still think the Yankees would just send him down. And the reason I say that is because there's a lack of precedent here when it comes to guys who make that little amount of contact and have big league offensive success. Again, the one guy you could really look at for this is Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo made better swing decisions, and very importantly, Joey Gallo was basically done in the big leagues as a quality everyday outfielder at 28 years old. So I don't know if Jones is going to have the same aging curve in terms of when he loses his bat speed, when his athletic tests start grading out worse, but I do think there's a lot of collapse risk here. There's significant concern, and it's not that he's a bad prospect. He's just a prospect that there isn't a lot of precedent for success with, and I do think the New York Yankees have to bake that into their thought process. I don't mean this to be like Spencer Jones sucks. Spencer Jones sucks. I don't want to dog on the kid. He's older than me. I can't call him a kid. But it's more so to just point out that there are going to be real reasons why Spencer Jones could have a 1,000 OPS in spring, and the team is still not going to put him on the roster. And I do disagree with this comment that Joey Gallo didn't have heart. Joey Gallo, I'm pretty confident Joey Gallo had like a tick, and he's spoken about it publicly. And I think it's very commendable that he overcame that and remained a big league baseball player. I don't think you can measure heart just based on the fact that he struggled in New York. He struggled in New York. His entire career went south. Like, he just didn't have it anymore, which is part of the risk of acquiring these high strikeout guys. And I do think, and as a guy who's, a big numbers guy and has been and was a proponent of trading for Joey Gallo at the time, one of the biggest oversights in this kind of, I don't know what the term to use here, in the sabermetric revolution, and the pushback against old time baseball, was the conversations around strikeout rate. De-emphasizing strikeout rate as a statistic to measure offensive output. It was an important step towards understanding how front offices work. But there is a threshold in which you're just striking out too much. And I do think there was overcorrection on my end, on the end of a lot of public-facing, smart baseball people, where there was just a lot of ignoring that on the hitting side, where contact rates do matter. Strikeout rates do matter. They're just not to the point where you wouldn't sign a guy because he strikes out a lot. You wouldn't sign a guy who strikes out 38% of the time. You should still sign a guy who's a really good hitter and strikes out 27% of the time. So there's that. And I understand, yes, Gallo, more pull-centric approach, different player, different person, but Spencer Jones doesn't have the swing decision level. His swing decision grades are worse than Joey Gallo's. Joey Gallo was a very patient hitter. He would swing at pitches to hit in zone. Jones swings at pitches to hit in zone, but not at an obscene outlier level. And very importantly, he was not, he chases a lot out of zone. I know he does damage on pitches out of zone, so that's part of the conversation, but there's a stat out there, Seager, which is a swing decision metric, swing decision evaluation metric. It does grade you well if you swing at pitches you should hit. Guys like Cody Bellinger has a pretty high chase rate. He grades out well in this model because the pitches he swings at out of zone are still pitches he can hit. The pitches he swings at in zone are pitches he can hit. He's good at recognizing what he should hit. Jones is still not there yet, and he's 25. So there's an expectation that he should be there. So yeah, and I also push back Pixelmon on the idea that Joey Gallo is never really good. Joey Gallo was a good hitter at one point in his career. There was a point in his career where he was a good hitter and a really good defensive player. If you look at his numbers from 2017 to 2019, I mean, I understand the average number climbed above. He had a year where he hit 253. That was his best year, but 119 WRC plus, 108, 144. Always consistently an above average hitter from that stretch. Had a bad 2020. Had a overall good year in 2021, but not a good stint with the Yankees. Was like league average-ish, OPS plus, below average, of course, and elevated strikeout rates. But the big thing that, again, goes for Joey Gallo, it goes immediately almost, is the strikeout rate. The strikeout rate immediately kind of dissipates, and it becomes this untenable, unmanageably high number. And this is a good question. I don't know Gallo's minor league stats, but Jones seems to hit for a high average. Yes, Jones is a higher average hitter, definitely, than you would consider for this like high strikeout, like low batting average guy. But in the case of Joey Gallo, like he was a 240 hitter in AAA in 2016. In 2015, a 240 hitter between AA and AAA. In 2013, 251. I don't know what the run environment was, but I know those numbers are lower than Spencer Jones's. So I guess there is maybe some, like, he's not as an extreme of a fly ball guy, but do I, again, as a like evaluating them as prospects, I would much rather have Gallo as an offensive prospect than Jones. But Jones can also play center field at a better rate than Gallo could. And prospect evaluators across the board would pretty much agree with this take baseline. Super chat here from Brian Bashman. What about the fact that Jones's K rate spiked after his injury last year? His K percentage was down at 23%. Joey Gallo was great in Texas, but he never was good under pressure. So the first thing I would note is the fact that Spencer Jones has those back issues is a concern. There's part of this that we can go, hey, should we have the conversation that Spencer Jones, like his back spasm caused elevated strikeout rates? I do think that is a variable here. But he had back issues. The fact that that can happen to you, that is an outcome for Spencer Jones throughout the course of any season, is scary. That's scary. Like, that's terrifying. You mean to tell me that at any point in time he can have a back issue that causes his strikeout rates to completely fall off a cliff? And he goes from a guy who strikes out at a tenable rate, at a rate where you're not really that concerned, to a rate where he's striking out 39% of the time, 40% of the time, 42, 43, 44, 45, maybe 50% of the time. That's concerning, man. That's concerning. I understand. Again, I'm not trying to tell you this guy's a bad prospect, but there is a reason why the Yankees haven't called him up. There's a big reason why. I think he can end up being a good big leaguer. He's a center fielder who can play a plus center field. He's a plus base runner. That right there could make him a big leaguer, even if he isn't a great hitter. Even if he's a league average hitter, that's a pretty good ball player. Good defensive center fielder, 100 OPS plus, 20 plus steals. That's a good baseball player. I don't know if it's going to be 100 OPS plus. I don't know if it's going to be a 50 OPS plus. I don't know if it's going to be a 120 OPS plus. I don't know. And yes, I know there's injury risk. Yes, Brian, there's players in baseball have injury risk. But with Jones, it was a back spasm that caused his entire offensive profile to fall off a cliff. And even before that, still swinging and missing a lot in zones. So, again, I'm not telling you Jones is a bad player and it's impossible for him to be a big leaguer, but it is unprecedented. There has never been somebody with Spencer Jones' strikeout rates, with Spencer Jones' propensity to chase out of zone, and at his age range. There's no age, whiff rate, plate discipline comp for Jones. There's no comp of a guy who's ended up being a big leaguer. Not one. Like, this is not comparable to Judge. Judge did not strike out at this rate. This is not comparable to, like, a big league guy who strikes out a lot. Not comparable. Because those guys didn't strike out as much as Jones did. So, yes, Gallo's strikeout rate was over 40% at AAA. Gallo's strikeout rate, I think you're referring to his, if I'm not mistaken, partial seasons. Nope, not what I'm looking for. Regular MLB season. There we go. I don't know which year you're referring to. It might have been his 53-game sample in 2015. Then he repeats and has a 34% strikeout rate. Again, Joey Gallo is the example of the outlier strikeout rates. But again, as I mentioned, the difference between Gallo and Jones is the chase rate. Gallo does not chase as much as Jones does, which does elevate your strikeout rates a little bit more. And also, Gallo was about 4 years younger, and Gallo was he's 4 years younger and he doesn't chase like that. Those are two big differences. You can't compare the two players. And yeah, the PA Transparency Project, like, Yeah, there were Aaron Judge detractors. Aaron Judge wasn't even the best prospect. He wasn't the best outfield prospect in the Yankee organization the day that he debuted. That tells you all you need to know about prospect evaluations in the sense of, yeah, sometimes it can just not matter. Ben Rice was I think he finished he graduated as like the 10th best prospect in the system on our rankings, and we thought we were the high people on him. He's easily the best prospect that was on that list. Easily, or not best prospect, sorry. He's easily the best player on that list. Easily, not close. Maybe Wells ends up having more career WAR as a catcher, and maybe he finds the offense. I don't know. But there's no chance that anyone there is a better hitter, has a better OPS plus or a better ERA plus on a year-to-year basis than Rice. Maybe I think Schlittler might have been on that list. Might have been. Yeah, no, he was. No, he was. So, yeah, but he wasn't inside the top 5. That being Schlittler. So, yeah, I don't even, dude, there is definitely like some element of who cares who's a top 100 prospect and who isn't. But again, I do think precedent matters. And precedent, history tells us guys like Spencer Jones don't hit in the big leagues. But he's a really good defensive center fielder. So, does he have to hit in the big leagues at the rate we think he needs to hit to be a good hitter or a good player? That's part of it. Spencer Jones could be a 105 OPS plus hitter, and he's a really good center fielder. Because he's a center fielder who's above average offensively and plays good defense. We'll kind of put a pin in the Spencer Jones conversation. I have a feeling that I should write an article on this. Ryan, are you going down to spring training? John Bloom, yes, I will. Are you getting some top series? One, I'm getting a hobby box in 2 weeks. Zachary, I'm not a card collector. Nothing against the hobby. It's just not my thing. I already have enough vices I spend money on. And I'm cheap. So yeah. Let's see what else we got. What WAR do you think Ben Rice will have for 2026? Jonathan asks. I'll say 3.5. He's going to get DH days. He's going to get first base days. It's going to hurt the overall WAR. He'll play more games at first and DH than he probably will at catcher. So, yeah. Why don't they get Judge's personal hitting coach to work with Spencer Jones? Because not every 6'7" outfielder should be doing what Aaron Judge does. I know it sounds crazy. Yeah, I know. Crazy. They shouldn't be. For example, James Wood may not benefit from working with Aaron Judge's hitting coach. Aaron Judge's hitting coach, Teacher Man, is also kind of like let's be honest. I don't feel like this is an uncomfortable thing to talk about. Like, his hitting coach can be a little bit abrasive on social media and has developed the reputation for being a little bit abrasive, and that might rub some people the wrong way. And I think you should want to work with somebody you can be comfortable with and form a connection with. And yeah, I think for some people, Teacher Man's not the right guy. Caleb Durbin worked with Teacher Man, and he's 5'6", and it worked really well for him. Caleb Durbin's a really solid big league player. So yeah, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you Teacher Man's bad at his job, good at his job, but size should not tell you like, hey, I'm going to go see Aaron Judge's guy. And I do think Zachary makes kind of the point I was going to make here. If Teacher Man was the GOAT, he would be the Yankees hitting coach. He would be a major league hitting coach. He would at least get offers for it. But I do think the abrasive personality kind of works against him. There are some guys who are incredibly educated or incredibly smart or incredibly informative, but their ability to communicate isn't great. And the ability to communicate is part of the battle. It's part of the battle here. We're having a conversation about coaching and things of that nature. So yeah, again, I think that Teacher Man, like, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that Teacher Man is terrible at his job. I'm not trying to tell you that he's the greatest at his job. But yeah, what works for Judge might not work for others. The people that connect with Judge may not connect with others. Again, Caleb Durbin worked with Teacher Man, and Caleb Durbin is shorter than me, and I'm 5'8". I'm short. All I'm saying, Ryan, is that we never know what could happen. AAA and AA pitching aren't as good as MLB pitching. Jones could potentially have better swing decisions. Typically, it doesn't work in the way that you face better competition, you make better swing decisions. But it's possibly just makes a skill leap. It's possibly just makes more contact in zone. It's possible that I make more contact in zone. No, I'm joking. But it's possible. Skill leaps are possible. It's possible this doesn't matter. It's possible he just makes so much loud contact that it does not matter. It's possible that he plays such good center field defense that he doesn't have to be a good hitter to be a good player. It's possible you can use him in a strong side platoon, meaning only against right-handed pitching primarily. These are all possibilities. All of them are possibilities. We'll see. He is I have him as the 7th best prospect in the organization. I think Bryce Cunningham could be a good big leaguer. He's the 6th best prospect in the organization. I was going to have Dylan Lewis probably 7th and Jones 8th. Dylan Lewis has a chance of being a pretty good big leaguer. I have Cade Winquist 11. He has a good chance of being a good big leaguer. I think he has a good chance. There are guys ranked behind him who I will speak very glowingly of. There are guys ranked ahead of him who I will speak glowingly of. Jones, I think I come off as the down man on Jones because I often find myself in conversations where I have to tell you that Spencer Jones isn't going to be a big leaguer on opening day. Most likely, if things go to plan. So, yeah. Yeah, I saw, the Jake Bird trade has nothing to do with the Durbin trade. And I think I actually like Jake Bird. I like Jake Bird. I think this stuff is good. We'll see. I also think relievers are too volatile to do the whole they'll definitely be good or they'll definitely be bad. He could get hurt tomorrow and then we'll never see him again. Patrick Sinclair, Kevin Long had an extremely abrasive personality. Also Eric Chavez. I do think firing Kevin Long was firing Eric Chavez was a very necessary thing for the Mets. I would hate having him as the hitting coach. Not a modern guy, publicly bashing the organization after the fact. I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. You're part of why the team collapsed, and you're talking about David Stearns being this and that, and it's funny how he stopped popping off once the Mets acquired Peralta and Robert and Bichette. Funny how the guy stopped fucking talking. And look, I don't care if I burn that bridge. Don't care. He's never coming on Fireside Yankees. Don't care about burning that bridge. There's a way to conduct yourself in this industry. There's a way to conduct yourself, and shitting on your former employer because you were a big part of the collapse. I think that's crazy. How much longer can the Yankees keep Jones in AAA before he's worthless as a trade piece? I don't think that's going to be that big of an issue right now. Could be an issue if he's still there at the end of the year. He's probably worthless as a trade piece. Harrison Cone was named the 18th best prospect in the Yankees organization. I know, I think it was from Baseball America, Brian, if I'm not mistaken. Cool stuff for him. We're going to be wrapping things up here. We've gone for about an hour. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more Yankees stuff going on. There's a lot for us to discuss. I know that we're all gearing up for baseball season, and you guys should be really excited because I'm really excited to see what ends up happening. I'm really excited to see what ends up happening with the New York Yankees. I'm really excited to see, what camp ends up looking like. We're going to get some film, hopefully, of some guys throwing. I love getting film of guys throwing. I need to see it. I must see it. And I'm excited, guys. So if you could subscribe, turn on that notification bell, we'd really appreciate it. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. You guys are awesome. We love you guys so much. You guys do so much for us here on Fireside Yankees. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your week. And actually, I'm going to take a couple questions to end this, but and then we'll end it here. Won't take long before Grisham plays himself out of the lineup. I disagree. I think his metrics last year were really freaking good. He's a far, far more likely guy to hit in the big leagues than Jones is right now. Yeah, but have a great rest of your night. And Ben Hess, I agree, will be awesome. Have a great rest of your night, guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. I just want to take a couple last questions because I thought those were an interesting one. Super chat from Jonathan Carrizo. Jonathan, thank you. Really appreciate it, man. You're the man. Thank you, bro. And with the addition of Bassett, do you think the Orioles are as good as the Yankees? I think the Orioles are good. I don't think that addition would push them over the edge. I didn't have them ahead of the Yankees, but if you did, then, this would separate them a little bit for you. I think Bassett's a league average starting pitcher, which is valuable in this league. But yeah. Anywho, I'm going to wrap things up here. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.